Hi, Dharma friends. Will you please join me in Gasho? Let us bow our heads in reverence. These are Shinran Shonin's words from Mato Sho, the lamp for the latter ages. My life has now reached the fullness of its years. It is certain that I will go to birth in the Pure Land before you. So without fail, I will await you there. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Naman Dots, Naman Dots, Naman Dots, Naman Dots. Well, hello again. So at the start of my message, I shared the words of our founder, Shinran Shonin. He wrote these words in a letter to one of his followers named Yua Midabutsu. And it's generally thought that the letter was written during the last 10 years of Shinran Shonin's life. Shinran was replying to a letter written by Yua Midabutsu, who asked a question about birth in the Pure Land by saying the Nimbutsu. Sadly, we don't have the original letter that Yua Midabutsu wrote. However, we are very fortunate to have Shinran's reply. And in his reply, Shinran answers Yua Midabutsu's question by saying that it is completely mistaken to look down upon people who believe in birth through the Nimbutsu. Shinran reminds him that for those who entrust themselves deeply to Amida and say the name Namo Amida Butsu, they are in perfect accordance with the primal vow. And at the conclusion of his letter, Shinran demonstrates to Yua Midabutsu his own confidence in the primal vow, as well as his friend's understanding of the teachings, by stating that without fail, he will be born in the Pure Land at death and will await for Yua Midabutsu there. And surely, Shinran's faith in the primal vow was fully settled when he wrote that. So we all feel that Shinran was a great man. So this should come as no surprise to us. But how can we know when this is the case for others? To be honest, when I first read that letter many years ago, I wasn't so sure, but then I was fortunate to witness a very special moment that deeply affected me then and still does now. So I want to share a story about a special member of the Arizona Buddhist Temple, whom I'll refer to as Mrs. K. She had been a Jodo Shinshu follower her entire life. She was originally a member of a temple located in Los Angeles, California, and she moved to Arizona in 1942. And at the time of Mrs. K's passing, she had been a strong supporter of our temple for more than 75 years. Mrs. K was known and respected for her many activities, but none more so than her traditional Japanese dancing. And over the years, she taught many students this beautiful form of expression and choreographed several dances for Vonn, which are still danced to this day. In fact, a few weeks ago, we danced some of her dances. I would see Mrs. K at all of our important services, and at the end of most of them, she would approach me with the kindest eyes and gently take my hand in both of hers and say to me, "Thank you for all that you do to support our temple." You see, she knew I was studying to become a minister, and her words had a great impact on me. And I always looked forward to seeing her since she seemed to truly appreciate the Nimbutsu teachings. When she was 95 years old, Mrs. K became ill and had to go to the hospital. And it wasn't long before we were called to visit her in order to conduct the Makra Gyo service. And normally this bedside service is held just after a person has died. Mrs. K was still breathing when we arrived, but just barely. Her family said that they knew that her time was close, as she had been unresponsive for almost 2 days. So we all began to chant Sambutsuge to express Mrs. K's and our own appreciation for Amida Buddha's primal vow, knowing that she would be born in the Pure Land soon. About halfway through our chanting, I noticed that Mrs. K began to stir. Without opening her eyes or saying anything, she slowly brought her hands up to her chest and placed her palms together in Gasho. I peeked at the others surrounding her hospital bed and noticed that everyone saw Mrs. K's expression of gratitude as well. And we all had tears in our eyes by the time we had finished chanting the sutra. Mrs. K passed away early the next morning. By sharing the precious moment with Mrs. K, I came to understand just how deep her appreciation was for the Nimbutsu's teachings. Although her family was mourning her pending death when we arrived at the hospital, I was able to see the joy on their faces as they realized how Mrs. K's birth in the Pure Land was settled. It was as if Mrs. K was telling all of them, without fail, I will wait for you there when your time comes. So in closing, I wish to repeat Shinran Shonin's words again. Will you please join me in reverent Gassho? My life now has reached the fullness of its years. It is certain that I will go to birth in the Pure Land before you. So without fail, I will await you there. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namandots, 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 Namandots. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you all have a wonderful 4th of July. Please take care and be safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.